This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Welcome, listeners. I'm your host, Dani, and I'm the first-time reader going through this 15-book series chapter by chapter. As always, there are no spoilers past the chapter we are covering, and that means it's totally safe for first-time readers. I'm joined by my co-host, Brett, who's a longtime fan of the series, and he's acting as my tour guide on this journey. Hey everyone, before we get into things today, we just want to say that it is donation time over here at the Wheel Weaves. So every third month we are going to be donating to the Mayo Clinic in honor of Robert Jordan. So since it is the first episode to be released in March, we're going to be donating $1 for every patron that we have over on patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. And currently, at the time of recording, we have 57 patrons, and so we'll be donating $57. So thank you so much to all of our patrons for making this possible. This episode, we're going to be talking about Chapter 10 and 11 of The Great Hunt.
Yeah, so we have Chapter 10, The Hunt Begins.
Yeah.
Which is really exciting, because we're beginning the hunt.
Yeah.
And Chapter 11, Glimmers of the Pattern.
Glimmers of the Pattern, I like that. And also, this book, you know how The Eye of the World was broken into two sections?
Yeah.
Split up?
Yeah.
So The Great Hunt was also split into two sections.
Oh man, you're taking the fun fact for today.
Is that your fun fact?
No, not at all.
Oh. I wanted to also just point out, because that book, the first half of The Great Hunt, is called The Hunt Begins.
And I'm afraid to ask what the second half of the book is.
I don't know. I've never seen it.
Okay,
I'd
probably
have to look it up.
Just saying, probably maybe don't look at it just in case.
Okay, maybe you can look it up.
Everybody dies. Oh no.
Yeah.
That's a terrible title.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I actually don't know, but maybe you can look it up.
Yeah, I can for sure do that. So to get to my actual fun fact for today, which is like a lot less fun now, but that's okay. I looked up a little bit of information about our pal Hurin, because we get to hear a little bit from him in these chapters.
The Sniffer.
The Sniffer, which you don't like the name of, but
yeah,
we don't have a better name yet.
No, we do not.
So it's not like Paranite, where we came up with something.
Oh, yeah.
So the name Hurin is most likely, and this is a little bit contested because it's not like a hard fact, but it's most likely a bit of a head nod to Tolkien, because in the Lord of the Rings universe, there's a character by the same name. And in the Silmarillion, he's a hero of men during the First Age, and he's said to be the greatest warrior of all the other men in Middle-earth.
Okay.
So we haven't really got a huge snippet yet of Hurin, but it doesn't look like his trajectory is the exact same, but it's likely that his name is a head nod towards that. And then I had to dig a little bit into this whole sniffer ability, because it's kind of interesting how Hurin can like smell out violence, and he's like a tracker, but he's like a person, and his ability is
literally to smell violence.
Yeah. It's such a unique ability. So I looked a little bit about dogs and their smelling abilities.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the first thing that kind of comes to my mind is bloodhounds, right?
Sure.
Because they're like the
they're
most
like,
well known for being able to sniff people out.
Is that the like hunting dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so bloodhounds, and I just had to look up a little bit about them. So,
like Disney Fox and the Hound?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That's a bloodhound, right?
Yeah, so apparently they have over 300 million scent receptors, which is more than any other breed.
I was hoping you were going to say smelly receptors.
Yeah,
I don't know why in my head I thought that.
Sniffer receptors.
Yeah.
So maybe Hurin's got something like that. But the fun contested part of this fun fact today is where the name Bloodhound comes from, because there's kind of two schools of thought. One is that Bloodhound comes from like the fact that they smell out blood trails of like people.
Yeah.
But the other side is it's most likely that the word is blooded hounds, as in they were like purebred hounds that were bred for that purpose. So it's kind of like two ways that it can go.
Okay.
So it's not really like a hard fun fact today.
No,
but
that
some
was a
wishy-washy
very
information.
meandering, tangenty fact.
It wasn't as good as your like the hunt begins fact. So
you know, as another name for a sniffer, I think I would have liked it better if he had gone into almost like the Latin root or something.
Oh, yeah.
So smelling is your olfactory system.
Yes, I've heard that word before. Yeah.
And so I would have liked it if it was more along the lines of that.
Yeah, like he does so many things with old tongue names that clearly have different roots.
Yeah.
But we're going to go with sniffer.
Sniffer.
So
whatever. Okay.
How about like man tracker?
But it's not men he's tracking.
Well, it usually is.
Yeah.
Like he's tracked murderers and stuff, so.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Moving on.
Okay.
So, the hunt begins.
Chapter symbol is the Horn of Valir.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's
They're
pretty
gonna
obvious.
go hunting for it.
Yeah.
So, Rand isn't being treated well by his friends because he didn't treat his friends very well.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah, but he did have his reasons, at least. But his friends don't know about his reasons.
Yes.
So, it's a mess.
And they're literally like mean girling him, where like he comes up to ride with them, they move back, and
I
then
know.
he moves back.
I'm having a lot of flashbacks to grade 8.
Oh man, it's terrible.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Grade 8 girls are actually the worst.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they're all on the hunt for the horn now, plus the dagger that they're looking for. So, right away, Ingtar sets a super hard pace, and Rand even starts to worry about the horses.
Yeah.
Because they are not slowing down, and the horses will not last the day like this.
Yeah, like the way Rand puts it, Ingtar is hoping that he's going to catch up within like the first hour, and they're going to get everything back. It's all going to be okay.
Yeah, not the case.
Not really, yeah.
So the sniffer is leading the way and directing which way to go, since he can smell the trail of violence and murder. So we get that recap. Rand is trying to ride with Matt and Perrin, which is like still kind of cute that he's trying still so hard, but they won't stay with him. So it's mostly on Matt's persistence, though.
Yeah, Perrin doesn't seem like the kind of guy who really holds a grudge.
Yeah.
But Matt...
Yeah, Perrin's more on like the loyal side of the spectrum.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, like he's going to be more forgiving, but Matt's just kind of being...
Matt's really emotional, he's really impulsive, and this is how he feels at the moment, and that's all that matters.
And maybe there's a little bit like cursed daggerness still coming through.
Maybe.
Like leaking through. Like he was kind of being a jerk.
Yeah, he did
way
demand
back when,
something this chapter, so...
Yeah, and I'm just thinking back to the Eye of the World when Matt started to get like daggery cursed.
I know, but he always was fine with Rand.
Yeah, that's true.
So this bugs me. Anyway, this is where I say it's very Mean Girl-esque, and my flashbacks to grade 8 are haunting, but I'll be okay. I'm okay now.
Well, you should have been like me. I completely avoided grade 8 girls when I was in grade 8, so...
Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, a guy named Uno...
Which is hilarious because he has one eye.
Yeah, I actually have a question about this. So, did he get his name before or after he lost an eye?
I think it was already stated that he got the name...
Because...
No.
Oh.
He had the name Uno.
Oh.
And he has happened to lose an eye.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of like Burn, the wolf?
Yeah.
Was she always just named Burn?
Or like Scar.
Yeah. Yeah, but then I was thinking like maybe he was born with one eye, and then they named him Uno because he was born with one eye.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't know if we covered this, but I don't think there's anything like stating that this is a nickname for him because of the fact he's got one eye. So
right. Okay.
It's a fun little coincidence.
Yeah, I still have questions, but we can move on. So he seems to be Ingtar's second in command, and he checks things out as they come to a bit of a stop, and then he comments on how fast the ones that they are chasing are moving. Like, even at the speed that they've been going, they haven't gained really any ground.
Yeah. And, like, Trollocs can go longer than horses can, so...
Right. Yeah, and they're fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost as fast as horses.
And, I mean, I kind of get it. Like, the Trollocs are still really close to Faldara, so of course they're going to be, like, trying to get further away faster.
Yeah.
So, like, they might slow down eventually, but not yet.
Right. So he tries to argue that the horses can't keep this pace, but Ingtar is set on catching them. And at this point, Uno gives Rand a look with his one eye, and then Rand wonders what that look was all about.
Yeah, he's just like staring at him. So.
Yeah. And then Rand also considers this other guy, the Massima.
Yeah. He's the guy who's a dick at the gates already.
Yes.
So he's just mean to
we met
everyone.
him a few chapters ago, and he doesn't like Rand at all for seemingly no reason.
Yeah.
So Ingtar realizes they can't keep up this speed, and then eventually they have to shift between riding a mile and walking a mile, and Loyal loves it. He loves being on his feet.
Yeah, this is like really fun information about Ogier in general too.
Yeah, one about Loyal specifically, like he's really fast. He outran a horse once.
Yeah, I think when we first met Loyal, we had a conversation about can Loyal run fast, and I think you were a little bit flip-floppy between the two, and we couldn't really decide.
Yeah, because they're like dum-doo-dum-doo-dum.
Yeah, they're like, but he's like a giant person with long legs, so it kind of makes sense that he can.
That's true.
Run fast.
Yeah, I like it.
But
I'm okay with it. So then eventually nothing happens. They don't find anything, and they make camp. So Rand immediately finds his bags, like he vowed he would do.
Yeah.
And then he screams out, and Ingtar runs over thinking that there's like actual danger.
And the rest of the guards like draw their swords.
They're like,
everyone's
oh my god, what's going on? And Rand is just like annoyed.
These coats!
Yeah.
It's so good. Oh man. Sorry, I couldn't hold that in.
Yeah, but he's actually so annoyed. Like, he's so frustrated. His whole world right now is revolving around wearing this stupid red and gold jacket.
And the whole time he was thinking, I'm going to change into my other coats.
And then finally, maybe Matt and Perrin will want to ride with me again if I can get this stupid coat off. And he can't, because all of these coats are super fancy with like silver and gold ornate detail. Ingtar says that a coat is a coat and it'll do, but Moiraine personally saw to all his packing, and maybe Aes Sedai are not aware of what a man needs in the field.
And he's totally just like ribbing on him.
Oh yeah, but then he goes, if we do catch these Trollocs and have a feast, you'll be dressed for it.
Yeah, as long as, even though we're not, you're good. So it's just like, oh, it's so bad. Like, poor Rand.
I was thinking that maybe Ingtar could be a buddy here and just be like, yeah, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I have an extra jacket.
Here,
or an
put
extra
this
cloak.
one on.
Here, wear this cloak instead. Like, does he actually have to be wearing... Like, isn't it...
Rand's taller than all of them, though, so it wouldn't fit properly.
No, I don't even... He doesn't even care. He even thinks, I'll just go naked. Yeah. And I was like, you can just take off the jacket.
But it's,
you can take the coat off.
Can't. No.
But why not?
Because it's a nice jacket. It's a nice coat.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to be wearing a nice coat.
Or does he secretly want to?
No, he hates it.
No, or does he want to, though? Think about that.
Yeah.
Let that one sink in. Maybe he likes the coat.
Yeah, I think he probably could have taken it off.
Yeah, probably.
Definitely.
Okay.
He probably could have. We know that it's like spring now, almost summer. It's not freezing cold. They're riding really hard. Like, there's no need for... He has a cloak that's relatively normal. He doesn't need to be wearing this bright red and gold coat. Especially because he's so mad about it.
Yeah.
Just take it off.
I don't know. I think my theory works pretty well, so...
Yeah, it's the only thing that actually makes sense. Because why wouldn't he have just taken it off? Anyway.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
I'm mad about it. Because this is like his
I feel like this hit you pretty deep, so...
Well, it's everything he's focusing on, and there's a really simple solution. Whatever. So Rand goes to sit and eat with Ingtar and Loyal, Matt and Perrin. Oh, I'm going to say that again. So Rand goes to sit and eat with Ingtar and Loyal, and Matt and Perrin are there, and they don't really acknowledge him, but at least they don't leave this time.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah. So Rand asks why Uno keeps looking at him, and Ingtar says that Uno must be wondering if you are worthy of the heron-marked blade.
Yeah, so that's why he's like staring at him.
Maybe.
So
Rand asks about why Massima hates him so much, and Ingtar says that he served fighting against the Aiel, like a whole bunch.
Yeah, 3 years.
Yeah, and he says, I know that Moiraine says that you are from the Two Rivers, but you have the look.
So he 100% looks like an Aiel to the point where Massima thinks he's basically like an Aiel, and he hates him.
He can't even
for
look at his face because he hates them so much.
Because he fought against him for so long.
Right. And so Rand gets pissed off and shouts about being from the Two Rivers. And Matt speaks up and says that Rand is definitely from there, but you'd never know it now. Don't put this Aiel stuff in his head, or he'll think he's an Aiel lord.
Yeah. Matt's just being like a huge asshole. He's so mean.
He's so grumpy.
He's like picking on him.
Yeah. So Loyal pipes in, talking about how he thought Rand was an Aiel when they first met, because he does have the look.
Yeah, and we get a little bit of a recap of all those sayings.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, and then what Gawain said.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah. Drop a shoofa around your head.
Yeah.
And I mean, even when Tom first came into the, Emmons field, he was like, "You've got the height of an Aielman, boy."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's all the same. And if you hadn't, remembered, this is your reminder.
Yeah, got it.
Do you want another reminder?
No, I got it.
Rand looks like an Aiel.
Okay.
Okay.
Then we get a bunch of Aiel stuff that I just figured you could touch on.
Yeah, and again, this is like all recap.
Yeah.
So the Aiel don't like anybody. They started liking the Kyrianans about 500 years ago. Then Lawman messed it up for everybody.
Yeah,
and
this
that's
is
sparked
all
the
recap.
Aiel
You're
War.
right. Okay.
Yeah, so it's all like the exact same stuff. But this does lead into the whole part where Ingtar jokes about wanting some men who are as hard as the Aiel are.
Yeah.
And that kind of cues Matt to be like, as hard? Like, what? You guys ran in armor all day long, and if I did that, I'd be like falling asleep right now. So what do you mean? So
yeah.
And then that kind of makes Ingtar go into the whole thing, which we do get a new piece of information, which is pretty important. Ingtar's like, men and women, they'll run 50 miles and fight a battle at the end of it. They're basically death walking, which sounds pretty cool.
Yep.
With or without weapons, except for swords. They don't touch swords for some reason.
Right. Oh, yeah. I do remember reading this, and
This is the important part.
This is my important note, because it links back in my brain to when the Green Man was confused about why Rand was wearing a sword.
Yay. Yes.
I got it?
I pulled up the quote just in case you remember that.
Yeah, no,
okay.
I remembered.
Yeah, so the quote from the Green Man said, "Strange clothes you wear, child of the dragon," which makes a lot more sense now because he's a dragon reborn.
Yeah.
"Has the wheel turned so far? Do the people of the dragon return to the first covenant? But you wear a sword. That is neither now nor then."
Yeah.
So Aiel don't touch swords, so the Green Man's like, why does an Aiel have a sword?
Yeah. He's like,
That's
legitimately
new.
just asking.
And then he's like, oh, my head.
Yeah.
Poor guy, he's dead now, but it was good.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, I'm glad I connected that one. And then, basically after this, Rand goes to sleep with his unpleasant thoughts, and they are up early to continue the next day.
And before you go forward, I just want to bring up one more point about the Aiel.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of like new information hidden in there. So this whole Aiel war, it lasted 3 years, and we knew that. But the biggest part there is that there were only 4 out of 13 clans that were involved in that war.
Of the Aiel.
So the Aiel were able to burn Cairhien, fight all the way to Tar Valon, and they ended up turning around because they were able to kill Lawman, from what it sounds like.
Oh, right.
And they left of their own accord. They didn't get fought back. And there was only 4 out of 13 that were involved in that.
Okay.
So if all 13 Aiel bands got together and said, we're coming over the Dragon Wall, it's pretty definitive that Randland, nobody could do anything.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, good point. So, it's the next day, and a bit into their trip, scouts come back sharing news of an abandoned camp up ahead. So, they gallop up to it, and at the camp, Matt picks up a bone from the cold fire ashes.
Yep.
And goes, what do dark friends even eat?
Yeah.
This doesn't look like a cow bone.
They eat people.
Yeah. And Ingtar says that Trollocs got hungry and dark friends are handy.
Yeah, so they actually ate people.
And Matt is going to be sick.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But he isn't actually.
He doesn't throw up, which is, good on him because he's got a weak stomach.
Yeah, but he probably didn't eat anything in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be fair for Matt, if I pick up a person bone...
And then found out that, some monster...
ate it,
yeah.
That's pretty bad, so...
Yeah. So, Hurin speaks up here and says that they are not going south anymore. They started to go northeast, which is weird, and he sounds confused about it.
Yes, it is weird.
It's a little bit confusing.
Opposite directions here.
Yeah, so they ride northeast, and then an hour later... Hurin stops them again and says they did murder here and then changed to go back south.
Yeah.
Zigzag.
Zigzag. So I have a question because we get this a little bit more as we keep going through this chapter where there's zigzagging. And obviously we get an explanation at the end.
Yeah.
But during your first read, did you have any thoughts about what they were doing? Because it's so weird.
It is weird. So... I am glad that I immediately got to read the next chapter, so this could immediately make sense to me.
Yeah.
Because most things that happened in this chapter, I didn't have a prediction about, and it didn't make a lot of sense, and so I just sort of kept reading and
keep going with it,
hoping to find out soon.
Okay.
Kind of thing, because it is sort of like a mystery, and I really had not enough clues to actually piece any of this together.
Yeah.
It was just confusing.
Well, it's kind of funny too, because, and we'll get to it, but Ingtar, the only thing that he possibly thinks is like, if they're zigzagging and we try to cut them off.
Yeah.
Right?
Like,
and
are
by
they
going
just,
straight,
they know we're following and they're trying to avoid us or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought maybe too.
Which is possible. They're trying to like throw up, but it's such a weird...
The only weird thing is that at each place that they zigzag, there's a dead person from like blunt force trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy that they find was like banged in the back of the head and is dead. And he's in Shinerian clothes. But Ingtar says they won't waste time burying a dark friend.
Yeah.
So they go south again and just leave the guy there. So the next day is the same as before. They find a camp. There's a change in directions to go northwest this time. Then a couple hours later, another blunt force trauma guy with an axe in his head, and then they switch to go south.
Yeah. It's all very confusing.
Yeah, and then it even says that the days continue like this for a while.
Yeah.
So the same pattern
so
every
a couple
day.
Days of travel.
So it definitely sounds like some sort of warfare almost. Like, we know you're on our trail and we're really just leaving things for you. We're throwing you off.
Yeah, it is so weird. Like the zigzagging could make sense in my brain, because if you zigzag a couple times and then hope that, you know, the guys following you are going to try to cut through the middle,
and then the
to
one
save
time you don't
and then you zag when you should have zigged.
Yeah.
And then you can like lose them.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I also thought that maybe the Fade and Trollocs or whatever would be aware of the smeller guy and be leaving the scent of the murder.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they would...
Okay.
I thought that might become a thing where we find out that they actually know.
Yeah, like it doesn't seem like the whole sniffer thing is a hidden ability.
No.
Because like the King of Fall Moran has one.
Yeah.
Like they're a thing.
Yeah.
So Dark Friends probably know that they could be being followed by a sniffer.
Because I was trying to figure out, why is there just a random dead guy at each place that they're going?
Yeah.
And obviously I thought, well, I guess they know that's how they're following us, is because they have someone who can smell the murder.
Yeah.
So that made the most sense to me at this point.
No, I get that.
Yeah. Okay. So that's super weird. It goes on for a long time. Ingtar is going a bit crazy.
Yeah, I want to talk about this because he's like giving these inspirational speeches.
Yeah.
Sort of. And I say
it's almost like to hype himself up more than anything. I think. Yeah.
But like we know he set out on this journey to like be very like, let's go get the horn.
Yeah.
And then we also have that side of Agelmar who is telling us, oh, if you're feeling the urge to blow the horn, then it shouldn't be you who blows the horn, right? It's like the urge to be the, you know, for glory and all that stuff. Like whoever blows the horn shouldn't be thinking of glory. So that's why it sounds like that's why everyone starts like looking at him sideways. Yeah. Like you're getting a little bit, you know, over eager here, man.
Yeah, to find the horn. But I think he really just doesn't like losing. And right now he's losing.
Yeah. I mean, this is the same guy who wanted to go to the Gap.
Right.
Right, and didn't want
to die.
Yeah. Didn't want to escort Moraine, so...
Yeah, that's true. He's probably so pumped
to
be actually like leading this charge.
Yeah.
Because the last charge he got left behind on.
He did, yeah.
So. All right, so then they come to River Aranin.
Yep.
And it's a small village with a ferry on the other side of the river. So they get there and it appears abandoned. And Perrin mentions he doesn't like the smell of this place. And Hurin gives him a look.
Yeah. Okay, go.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, because we did the whole comparison. Yep. Like, does, you know, Perrin have the same
sniffer ability?
Yep. Is it two separate abilities Perrin's got? So
he does.
Does this confirm more for you that
yes,
it's like...
does.
Okay.
Yeah, because Hurin's like, what do you mean it smells bad? Because, like, that's how he started. He even told us how he started.
Came on slow. So, do you think, like, Hurin has a new best friend?
Maybe. I don't know if Hurin's, like, or Hurin's. Maybe they could just be called Hurins from now on.
Okay.
I don't know if Sniffers, like, fight for the chance, You know, I don't know if you need 2 of them.
Is it like a one position? I gotta.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're gonna get replaced.
Yeah,
That's terrible.
Is he better than you at sniffing?
Okay.
Oh no, that would be sad.
It's like competition. Yeah, in the workplace.
Yeah,
it's very tough.
So, anyways, I just made a note of that because it further confirms what I feel, and then they find out that there are no people here at all, and the men search the houses, and they come up with nothing. But then Uno sees a woman in the window of a house.
Yeah, it goes like booking after
barreling in, screaming, and Ingtar's like, "Don't scare her!" But
yeah. Which is hilarious too. It's just
but then he comes back and says she disappeared.
Yeah,
and I just go, "It's a ghost."
Yeah, I want to ask about this because like
Scooby-Doo.
everyone's like,
it's actually the janitor in a costume.
Oh no!
Or whatever Scooby-Doo thing it is.
It's someone you know who's doing terrible things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we get the whole thing where Matt's like, "Oh, it's just like a curtain in you know in the window."
But then he says, "I swear I saw her in the house too," and then she disappeared.
But he like comes busting out the top floor, looking out the window, like, "Where did she go?"
Yeah. Oh, she jumped out of here.
Like, there's clearly no one in there, but
he swears.
Yeah. Do you think like he just has one eye that's not very good?
Yeah. So
like, should we be trusting his vision?
Okay. So here's my thing about this chapter and the next chapter as well. You're going to have a lot of questions for me about what's going on.
And you've got no answers.
I don't have anything to go off. And I think that is probably the point. I'm supposed to be confused here.
Yes.
I think.
A little bit, yeah.
I'm just going to go with, hopefully, I get more clues.
You should not be confused. Give me the name of the woman who was not there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just hoping for some more clues in the near future to help piece it together, because right now I don't have much.
Gotcha.
So Loyal says that the Dark Friends took the people from the village for the Trollocs, and Hurin is like frozen in his saddle and says something crazy weird happened here. Like, not exactly murder, but definitely violence, and it happened just on the other side of the river. So Ingtar orders that the ferry be brought back over, and I'm still a little bit having some trouble picturing these old-timey pull cable ferries.
So think of like a cable.
I know. I don't need you to explain it to me. I actually looked up a picture of it.
I'm going to do it. Yeah. Cables going across the water.
Do you want to see this picture I found from 1902?
Yeah. Okay.
It's from FloridaMemory.com.
Good.
And it is...
Yeah, that's basically what a ferry is.
Yeah, except my issue is, do they stand on it and just pull?
Yeah, and like you like walk across. Yeah,
but I don't get the walking part.
It's your momentum that's it's water. Like the ferry's on water, so it's gonna move.
Yeah, but if you just walk, you're gonna end up walking off the ferry. Like I picture the pulling yourself across. I can handle that, but the walking, my brain can't.
So I know what we need to do. I need to build you a ferry.
Yeah.
We gotta bring it out to a river.
Yep.
We gotta walk it across.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, can't wait.
There you go.
That'll be a fun date.
It is a fun date. You know?
You're so romantic.
Too bad Valentine's Day is just passed.
Yeah. Shoot, that would have been a good idea.
Yeah. But again, so Reagan and Massima, pretty cool. Yeah. They like strip down.
Well, they wade to the other side, and then... Because they just have to go in the water to go get the ferry, right?
Well, they go across on the ropes. They pull themselves across. Yeah. But they strip down out of their armor with daggers. Yeah. And then they go into the forest to make sure there's no ambush.
In their breeches.
It's pretty badass.
Yeah.
And then they come back and they bring
they are shook.
Yeah.
By what they have seen.
They're like, you got to see this.
Yeah. And so the rest of them get onto the ferry. But Matt hesitates slightly and then says, well, I guess I have to find it eventually.
Yeah.
And Rand goes... Oh yeah, the dagger. I forgot about that.
Shoot.
And then he says, we'll find it, Matt. And Matt just scowls at him.
Yeah, screw you, man.
Yeah. And I said, yeesh, enough already. Matt, I think, is just really hurt.
He's sensitive,
and he doesn't know how to manage these emotions he's feeling. And Perrin gets a little, deep and dark here. And
he's reminiscing.
He's like, this is how we left home, on a ferry. And I just think how nostalgic.
Yeah.
But he says, this time it'll be worse.
He's like Eeyore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And so Rand asks, how will it be worse? And Perrin just ignores him. And then Matt asks again. And Perrin says, it just will be. I can smell it.
And Huron's like,
Does another double take of Perrin.
Oh my god.
Yeah, side eye.
Best friends?
Maybe.
Or?
I don't know. Perrin's not very friendly these days. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think Huron actually has to worry about his job.
He has like a permanent contract.
I think he's just curious about Perrin. I think Perrin's a curious guy.
Yeah.
That's what I actually
think. He's very
think
broody though.
He is, yeah. So anyways, they come up to what the big deal is over here.
And it's a big deal.
It's a freaking big deal. So, those 2 guards.
Yes.
Who they couldn't find.
Yeah.
Changu and Nyado.
Yeah.
Have been, like, flayed.
Yeah.
And hung.
Straight up.
And Rand describes them as crimson scarecrows.
Yes, they have been skinned alive.
Yeah. And so Huron says, bad as I've ever smelled, apart from the dungeons in Faldera that night.
Yeah, so if you remember that dude who hung himself in the dungeon?
Yeah.
Like intentionally, and the other guy who's like trying to claw his way out?
Right.
Makes sense.
Right, and then it said something about their rictus barred teeth.
Oh yeah, because it was also like they were
or something.
They've
that
been
word
around.
just triggers me because of the whole Mordeath thing. But though it clearly was happening while they were still alive.
Yes, which is like equally bad. So this is just like bad.
And this is more of that gory violence stuff that we're not sure how far the show is going to take.
Yeah, what I want to see is like a side-by-side comparison of George R.R. Martin's writing of like a flayed man to Robert Jordan's and like just see what it is. Because I've never read George Martin's stuff.
Oh, right.
I haven't read like Game of Thrones or anything.
You've only seen it.
I've seen it, but I haven't read the books. And I'd love to see the paragraphs probably of description of the flayed people versus this, which is like, they're flayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I did read the first 4 Game of Thrones books, and his writing is definitely descriptive.
Yeah.
But I
it's
can't
just
remember anything specifically like this, so...
Yeah, I think it's like where they choose to focus their description.
Yeah.
But...
So here, Rand seeks the void...
Yeah, we get that a couple times.
And kind of gets it, but also gets like super queasy, and then the light is like a sour light or something. It's weird. It's a weird description. Not like we've gotten before.
Yeah, the nauseous flickering was in there too, it says.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is also him trying to hold it together when he's seeing like flayed people.
Yes, fair.
But yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't even really know what's happened to them, and then someone says they've been skinned alive. So Ingtar orders them to be cut down and buried because they cannot be sure if they were actually dark friends or if they had just been sort of like captured and brought as like prisoners, even though Loyal thinks that it's pretty unspoken that
Loyal
these are
can't
the guys.
Loyal can't think of anybody else or any other way that this could have happened unless these 2 were the traitors. But Ingtar was already like didn't want to necessarily believe it because he said that earlier, like a couple chapters ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, they can't be sure, and if they are dark friends, then why would they have been skinned alive?
Yes.
Like what happened?
Yeah, something definitely happened here, and I don't believe that they're dark friends. And if they did open that gate for them to come in, it's not because they're dark friends. It's because they were under like Padden Fane's curse or
like something else was going on.
Yes.
Could it have been like a?
Well, we discussed last time that they were acting differently every time Egwene went. More dark and more broody and more mean every time. Yeah,
so something like that.
Yeah, so something happened. So then we sort of learn about the Shinarian burial customs, and they talk about returning to the embrace of the mother. So they are essentially given a green burial. Yeah. Where there's no
coffins, no shrouds, no clothing, no nothing, just back in the dirt.
Yes.
So.
And this is when Rand and Loyal chat about sort of what's going on, and Rand for once like actually asks a question that I want him to ask, and he says, "Then who shot the arrow?" Yes. And he says, at the Amyrlin. Yeah. Not at me. Yeah. Yeah. But Loyal doesn't have an answer, and then we just move on. Yeah. And I go, God, no.
No speculation. I mean, do you have any speculation? Like any theories going on?
No.
So
I knew I was going to disappoint you with every question you asked me.
Well, it's tough because we also heard like Egilmar say, "Bring me the guy who shot the arrow," and we got no follow up because they left immediately. So like we don't know if there's. And again, this is the whole thing. There were Dark Friends in Faldara helping out.
Yeah.
Whether there was a couple or many, but just because there was this one attack doesn't mean there's no Dark Friends left over there.
That's true.
Like there still might be some who are still there, still undercover.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Except that why they'd want to shoot Rand doesn't sound like a Dark Friend thing. Like, I don't think they want to kill Rand.
Unless it's like
in
those
front
orders.
of everybody, in front of the Amerlin, in front of Egilmar, in front of, like, they wouldn't be able to get him. They wouldn't be able to have him unless it's a Leandrin thing. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know why she wanted those boys so bad.
Yeah.
Maybe she thought she could stop them from leaving if.
Yeah, and she did say she had her own orders, but again, I mean, I know it's speculation that she's a Dark Friend, but.
I know.
Yeah,
Let's move on. I can talk about this forever. So, anyways, these guys who are buried get the words that Loyal wasn't sure he was going to get.
Yeah, and Ingtar's like, he justifies it saying, hey, they saved Egilmar at the Gap, so you know what? That earns them to have the words.
Get the customs.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So from here, they head south and don't veer at all again. Straight south. So they will reach the field of Taladar in 3 days. And apparently this is where Arthur Hawkwing's greatest victory was. And I just think, well, this is story time.
Yeah, and it's, not even necessarily that big of a story.
No.
It's just that this was the location of...
They put up a monument.
Well, yeah, the biggest battle. He drove back the Trollocs. They never challenged him again for, ever, basically.
And that's a big deal for the Borderlands.
Yeah. So then they raised the monument, which was a giant spire. He didn't put his name on it. He put the names of the dead men and a golden sun at the top of this giant spire. So it's all very nice, but then it also leads into story time how...
Loyal's like, I want to see that monument.
Yeah. Well, it's gone.
Gone, bud. Sorry.
Yeah, because when his empire fell, then all of his successors who fought for all the nations tore the land apart and tore down all of his monuments.
Yeah.
So, not good.
Okay. So they keep riding, and then they come up on to a manor house.
Yep.
In Herod Dakar? Or is Herod Dakar the guy?
No, Herod Dakar is the place.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it's the capital city of Hardin.
Okay.
Which is basically a non-nation now.
Yeah, because I put here history lesson, question mark, and I thought that you could handle this.
And the easiest way to explain this is we've been kind of had it drilled into us over and over again that all the nations on the map, all the borders are very loose, and we are not living in a peak time for this civilization. There's tons of wilderness, lots of unclaimed land, and we really get a huge, almost like a bleak outlook from Ingtar, because it all kind of runs into this.
Well, yeah, but Matt, this is where I note that Matt demands to know, what happened to them.
Yeah.
And Rand hadn't noticed him and Perrin ride up. Last he saw them, they were really far away, but they've come to sit with him and listen to this story.
Yeah.
And then this is when Ingtar sort of has this really dark moment.
Yeah, he gets pretty dark, and I mean it could be because the whole hunt for the Horn isn't going super great. So far, and maybe he was expecting it to go better.
His war hero buddies were just
flayed alive. Yeah, it's not good. But again, this is Loyal saying the nations fail, and this is why nations can fail and fall apart. And Ingtar, just to kind of summarize, he says everything and everywhere is fading. Most nations don't actually control the land they claim, and 100 years ago, comparative to today, people don't even claim as much land as they used to, so everything's withering. And then Ingtar talks about how the Borderlanders have their own fights with the Blight that keep them strong, and everybody south of them doesn't really have anything pushing them forward. And how long is it going to be until everything else is gone, and then how long until the Borderlands fall? Yeah. So he spirals downhill.
Yeah.
And he's got some points. The nation's lines are pretty weak right now.
Yep.
But he's in a bad place mentally. So.
All right. So then we get that there is a village ahead.
Yeah.
And so they get to this village, and it also appears to be abandoned. So not even a dog in sight. So they go in and search the houses. Rand goes up to a house and sort of hesitates, but then goes in.
Yeah.
And he sort of sees this scene of an abandoned dinner roast on the table with the knife there, like someone had dropped it. There's a few flies buzzing around the food on the table. And Rand blinks, and things get interesting.
Yeah. So again, this isn't Rand blinking.
Okay.
I need you think of it as like, and we're going to call this the house sequence because we can kind of clarify a few things here without getting too deep into it.
Okay.
This blink is like a blink in like the scene. So almost think like in a television performance, it's not just Rand blink, it's like the scene shifting.
Okay.
Where we get like almost maybe a flashback or something, or like a vision of what led up to this event.
Yes.
So we have the man like serving the food. There's a wife, half a dozen children, and then the girl screams, points to the door. The man screams. They try to run out. The door bursts open, and then the blink scene shift back to Rand in real time, where it's just like that dinner scene that's just laid out.
Right. Okay. So here's the thing. I saw this reading it for the first time.
Yeah.
As Rand is blinking.
Okay.
And even though yes, it is switching back scene for scene for scene.
Yeah.
What he is seeing in a split second.
Yes.
He's seeing the whole thing in his head as a vision, sort of every time he blinks, the scene changes.
Okay.
That's how I've interpreted this.
Okay.
And I like
and
it
that works
that
too.
way.
Yeah, that works too. So it's just like there's the back and forth from like I don't know if I want to say like real life to not, but it's like to Rand
it's
to
neither.
like
it's neither are real, it seems like. So, or real present anyway.
Yeah.
And then, so Rand blinks again in the way I read it.
Yeah.
He blinks, and then this scene is gone back to the empty room, and the flies on the table seem to be buzzing really loud.
Yes.
And then the next scene, he blinks, and...
But most importantly, not just the flies, but Rand can't move.
Right. His muscles are frozen.
Yes.
Yeah. So he blinks and sees the same scene again. Then he blinks and he's back to the empty room. But this is where the room seems colder and Rand is frozen. This second time. So there are flies all over the table now. And he reaches for the void. But he blinks again and sees the vision. Like that same same scene.
So one thing I want to point out here. So in this one where he reaches for the void, you get the other weird description of the sour light is there.
Oh, that's where this is. Yeah. I knew I read that somewhere.
But he doesn't care.
Yeah.
So he's still reaching for that.
Yeah.
And then it's back to the same dinner scene.
Yes. And then the next scene, the flies basically blacken the table. The room is so freezing cold. And the flies are like crawling over Rand and covering his eyes and stuff. And he reaches for the void, for the warm flickering light. And then suddenly he is like tearing at something. And what he's tearing at sort of crumbles away. And then there's nothing.
Yes. So.
Crazy. Weird, crazy. Up for a million interpretations.
Well, it's up for a few interpretations.
Yeah, it seems like a lot.
So again, but this comes back to the whole when Rand reaches for the void and he sees the weird flickering light, the sour light, the, nauseous flickering, like the same thing.
Right. So I've already sort of speculated that light in the void is the power.
Okay, good.
Like he's reaching, trying to channel kind of thing.
Yeah, and it seems like he kind of achieved that, and then the whole tearing at something that he doesn't really know what it is, with this whole fire in the world is burning, it's kind of like an indication that this could be another channeling event for Rand.
Yeah.
To, like, bust his way out of this weird situation.
Right, like, he feels like it's a life or death situation almost, but he's literally standing in an empty room in an empty house.
Yeah.
So, why all this perceived threat? I'm sorry, I hate to say, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot of dark stuff floating around.
With the whole flies and seeing the same scene over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
It's like stuck on a loop here.
Yeah, so I have an interesting note about what's happening for Rand here. Okay. So this is one of my many speculations, but this is the one I kind of landed on that I liked the best. Okay. So with female Aes Sedai, we have been introduced to the fact that from a young age, when they started channeling, they have come up with their own sort of secret abilities.
Yes,
that
they have
not everyone has.
Yeah, Maureen and her listening in, and
right.
Leandrin and her thing like attack your brain.
And then Swan's super useful seeing Taveren really bright.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Taviren.
That's a talent.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
These like secret little talents that they have.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And so I'm thinking that maybe sort of seeing what has happened in a place might be like a talent for Rand.
Okay. That's pretty wild. Yeah. So like he could see almost like the past. The past.
Yeah.
Like a short snippet.
Yes.
Okay.
Because he clearly saw what happened here.
Yeah.
He has a vision of what happened here. I don't know. It's possible, I guess, that he made it up and is speculating what might have happened, but it's very oddly specific with the amount of children that are there and where they move and go.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe it's some sort of talent that he might have.
Maybe it might show itself in the future then.
It might.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because, so everything is sort of gone now and it goes back to normal. And then there are 6 dead flies on the roast.
Yep.
And 6 more dead flies.
Bunch of dead flies.
On the veggies.
Oh, no. Okay.
And so, obviously, I'm thinking this was a channeling event because whatever he has done here...
Did he lash out and kill the flies?
He killed the flies.
Okay.
Which is awfully Beelzebub-like.
Yeah, because the whole, like, breaking the rat's backs thing? Okay.
Yeah.
Is that what you were thinking of? Like, killing the animals?
Yes.
That's the only thing I could think of that was, like, similar.
Yeah, and then, I don't know, it seemed a little bit familiar, like dead flies and stuff. I don't know if that was in a dream once or something.
Yeah.
It seems familiar.
We've gotten the rats, we've gotten the ravens being thrown at people's faces.
Yeah, I didn't know if dead flies were a thing, but anyway, it all seems linked to me.
Okay.
So he staggers out into the street and sees Matt, and Matt has gone into a house and seen an empty room and come out just fine.
Yeah, it didn't seem to have one of these events.
Nope. And he tells Perrin that...
Matt would probably be, like, freaking out.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh my god, guys.
He would tell everybody
guess what just
immediately.
happened. Yeah.
And Rand is more of, like, an internalizing
type I'm just going to hold my feelings inside till I die.
Real tight.
Yeah.
So Matt tells Perrin that it looks like they just got up and walked away from supper. So I guess all these houses sort of look the same.
Mm-hmm.
And then shouts come from the village square. So they all go to check it out. And in the square is a man nailed to like a building door, sort of like spread-eagled with like spikes or nails in its wrists and shoulders and through his eyes to keep his head up. And there are scuff marks on the door where his feet are to show that he was alive when this started.
Yeah.
And then Rand's breath catches because this is not a man. And Rand says, Murdral.
Oh, no. Okay.
And then Matt says, who could do this to a fade? And Ingtar says,
yeah, we're going.
I don't know, man. Yeah. And they don't stay to figure it out, and they head south on Hurin's trail out of the village.
Yeah. So this has been like the similar theme throughout the entire chapter, where every time we hear about the whole, even from Hurin's perspective, that there's Trollocs and Fades and something worse.
Yeah.
And nobody at any point ever connects the fact that it might be Fane.
Yes.
That Fane is the something worse.
I know.
It's not even like a speculation that he could be traveling with them.
Yeah.
And like...
like
Rand knows that it's also like we heard the
Rand
name Mordeath.
Knows that he's Mordeath.
Yeah.
He said Mordeath knows, and Rand just didn't care to store that in his long-term memory.
He's just like blocked that out of his mind completely.
Yeah.
So
I know.
So they're like, oh my god, what's the something worse? What could it possibly be?
Yeah, it's kind of annoying. But I have to tell you, when I first read this, Fane didn't come to my mind.
Really? Okay.
I really didn't think that Fane did this.
So it's good we're reading two I was going to ask, because that was one of my questions.
I kind of wish that I didn't. We should have recorded this chapter, like paused.
Yeah.
And then because then you could get my like true sense, because a lot of stuff that happens in this chapter is kind of answered
in the next chapter.
Because the next chapter is quite short and
Yeah, but it gives us definitely some confirmations on things. So did you have, because I actually wrote down one of my questions was, did you think that this was like Forsaken, or was it like a a channeler dark friend, maybe not a Forsaken but like an Aes Sedai type thing, like a Black Aja, who knows, or like did you have any other like a bigger fade?
I know. Here's the thing though, so because I was reading and this was the very end of the chapter, I just kept reading and didn't spend a lot of time thinking about it.
Okay.
I just thought, whoa, that's crazy, and then I kept reading. And I didn't to me speculate. I was like, yeah, who could do this to a fade? I want to find out, and then I just kept reading.
So that's pretty cool. That now we know that it is Fane who could do this to somebody.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Crazy.
So let's get into that then.
Yes.
Because we're going to get into chapter 11, Glimmers of the Pattern. And the symbol is the wheel and infinity snake.
And we're certainly getting that a lot more this book than we did last book.
Yeah, we are. So we're continuing with Rand here. And Ingtar chooses to make camp a lot earlier than any other day, with the sun still up.
Yeah, it's been a tough day.
Everyone is super concerned and shaken from what they saw in the village. So Rand overhears Uno saying that he saw the disappearing woman again back at the last village.
Interesting.
And he's very sure that he saw like the same one from the ferry.
Yeah.
And he is being all defensive, like people don't believe him. And Rand feels like he doesn't want to think about that or what he saw or not saw.
Yeah, so I want to ask, which way are you leaning? Are you leaning towards the fact that there's like a spooky ghost woman that's following them in each village that Uno sees and only Uno has seen? Or is there like, no ghost woman and Uno is just like spooking himself out?
No, I think there's something he's seeing.
And Uno is like, and that's the whole thing. Like, we're not getting this from a perspective of like Rand sees the woman and no one believes him. Yeah. This is like Uno with one eye sees the ghost woman. So
I know this like Faldara soldier man.
So you are leaning in the direction that there is somebody or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I prefer.
Not just curtains.
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of funny because like sometimes even your mind.
He's so sure, and he's telling people. Like,
yeah.
He's like, guys, no, I saw a woman. Like, he couldn't even possibly think that maybe this has something to do with the power or dark friends or dark magic or whatever.
Maybe it's like your brain spooking you. Like if you go in the bathroom and say, Bloody Mary 3 times.
Yeah.
And your brain like...
No, I don't think this woman is Bloody Mary.
Okay.
He said that she was wearing a white dress.
Yeah, okay.
Bloody Mary wears a red dress. Everyone knows that. So yeah, Rand really doesn't want to think about any of this. I thought maybe it could be a good opportunity to be like, hey, Uno, come here. I believe you because I saw something weird too.
Make friends.
And sort of do a thing. But he doesn't.
Yeah.
And he thinks maybe I am going mad. And he also wishes Moraine was there to talk to.
Yeah.
But really, Rand?
Flip-flop.
Because I don't believe he would tell her that he saw this even if she was standing right there.
Yeah, probably not.
There's no way. He wouldn't tell anyone. He wouldn't tell her. He didn't tell her about his dreams. He didn't talk to her for a couple months, even though he wanted her to come and talk to him about what's going on with him. And no, there's no way I believe he would have been like, Moraine, what's going on with me? Like, no
I saw some spooky flies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I know he wouldn't tell anyone, and he doesn't. So, whatever. Ingtar is on the defense as well. He says that the horses basically have to stay saddled, and you have to sleep by your horse, no fires tonight, and he wants scouts going out and coming back. So, safety mode. And Rand tries to ask Ingtar about the fade back there, but he doesn't have any answers for that. But he does have a package for Rand from Moraine.
Yes, this is cool.
Yeah, so Ingtar was told to give it to Rand as soon as they were south of the river. And she said that Rand would need it and his life could depend on it.
So make sure you take care of it. Don't throw it out.
Yeah, so it's interesting that the instructions were specific about being south of the river because Ingtar, when they first left, thought for sure they were going north to the Blight.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, they all thought they were going north, but...
And then Hurin said we're going south.
Moraine somehow knows that the party wasn't going to go to the Blight.
Yeah, she has her ways.
Okay.
She's smart.
All right, if that's the answer.
Now, when it's described as, like, cloth, did you immediately think it was...
I didn't.
No?
No, I had no idea. I was like, woo, what is it?
It's another coat.
I was like, maybe she's like feeling sympathetic and sent him like an actual riding coat.
It's the fanciest coat of them all.
Yeah, no, I actually didn't know.
With like frills and poofs.
And I was hoping that Rand would go open it, but I wasn't hopeful.
Yeah.
I was like, I really want him to open this so I know he's not going to.
Okay.
But
if you like throw it away or something.
Yeah.
Like just like throw it in the river.
Or like keep it down in
Yeah.
his saddlebag and like never look at it again until the end of the book.
And then, oh man, big reveal.
Yeah, that's what I thought would happen. But he also tells Rand that if anything should happen to Ingtar, Rand will be the next in command.
Yeah, so this again is huge.
Oh my god. So this freaks Rand out. And he's like, what the fuck? Me? Like, I can't lead anyone? And Ingtar, you can tell, kind of feels the same way.
Yeah, he doesn't get it, but he's a soldier and he's going to listen to it.
And so he explains that he was called by Agelmar and was told the orders, because Agelmar is the only one who can give orders like this.
Yeah, Moraine was in the room, but it was Agelmar who said it.
But it was Agelmar. And everyone knows about this.
Yes. All the lances.
All the lances.
So we can kind of guess that like Perrin, Mat, and Loyal don't necessarily know. Mm-hmm. Which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can only imagine like what's going to happen next
if like Mat and Perrin knew, or specifically
or
Mat.
Or if specifically Ingtar dies, and then everyone starts looking to Rand to lead them.
Yeah,
Mat and Perrin will be so pissed off.
Ooh, are you going to like possibly predict Ingtar's going to die right away?
No, I don't want Ingtar to die, but I think Rand will be put in a position of leadership that he doesn't want, probably sooner than later.
Okay, so Ingtar's going to die?
I guess.
Oh, man.
Or maybe they'll get separated somehow, and then he'll be like looked to...
Ingtar's going to go missing?
I don't know. I just don't want him to die. I like him a lot.
Okay.
But if he does die, he has to have blood on his
sword. Yes, okay.
So then it can at least be honorable.
Now you get it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a pretty interesting note that every single person knows their place.
Yeah.
But that can also kind of lead into why like Uno and Massima are eyeing him weird.
Yes.
At the beginning of last chapter.
I do have that here too. That's probably especially why Uno is eyeing him, because Uno should be second.
Yeah.
And he probably knows it and feels it.
And it's like, why is this, country bumpkin?
Yes.
Haven't heard that in a while. But
yes, but definitely.
Why is he the second? So
right. Anyway, so Rand argues with Ingtar, but Ingtar just says that he will do his duty, and he thinks that Moraine is still pulling her Aes Sedai reins on him no matter where she is.
Yep.
So
it's like, I want her here, but I don't want her, controlling me. But I really want her advice.
Yeah.
But I don't want to take her advice.
Yeah, Rand has a lot of trouble. Anyway, so Rand sneaks off a little ways to go open the package. Yay!
Yeah.
That was surprising to me, actually. So really surprising.
This also reminds me 100% when in Survivor, they go off into the woods with their little idol, to unwrap it. But they do it terribly so that a bunch of other people see them wander off into the woods, follow them, and they're like, oh yeah, that guy has an idol. Yeah. It's terrible.
That's literally what's happened here.
Yeah.
Because he opens it up and it's the dragon banner.
Yes.
And I went, oh duh.
Yeah, that makes sense.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that's of course what it is.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then I connected it, and then Mat bursts into the clearing where he is, and he goes, oh, look at that. He's got his own banner now.
Fancy coats and now a banner.
Yeah, and Perrin comes in too, but then Mat starts to get all worked up, and then he sees what it is.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh shit, what the fuck? Why do you have that, man? And Rand then gets really, really mad now.
Yeah, so it all kind of comes out. Yeah.
And I don't blame him.
Yeah, this is like everything that's been building up with their whole entire fight between the three of them.
Right. And if he had just told them from the beginning what he was going through, like, it wouldn't have to explode like this.
Communication in friendships is important.
Right. Tell Rand that.
Yeah.
So he yells about how Moraine wants to use him as a false dragon and push him around, and he will not be used. And Mat sort of backs up and says, that's crazy. But Perrin calmly puzzles everything out and says, if she wants to use you as a false dragon, can you channel?
Ooh.
And Mat goes,
oh, didn't even think of that.
And he launches into, I don't want to, and I didn't mean to, and they won't let me stop.
Yeah.
And so, yay, it's finally out in the open. Like, I've been waiting for this.
Yeah, this is like the core of all their problems.
It really is. And then so Mat goes a little out of control here.
Yeah, he has a meltdown, but
thinking
Perrin...
only of himself and
Yeah.
seeing how this can negatively impact him. And, like, maybe this is the cursed dagger stuff, or maybe Matt is just a little more selfish of a person.
It kind of seems like this is just Matt. Like, Matt is pretty, self-centered in that sense.
Yeah.
From what we've seen so far, and Perrin's more, like, slow things down and think about it.
Yeah.
I was really hoping that Perrin was gonna be like, hey, man, I get it, because I have this whole wolf thing going on.
I know, that would have been good, but I don't think Perrin's ready.
Yeah, because, Rand's kind of, like, telling everyone his problems, and Matt, everyone knows his problems with the dagger.
Yeah. I think Perrin would be more likely to talk about it if Matt wasn't there.
If it was just Rand and Perrin?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that Perrin is...
Could there be, like, a heart-to-heart soon?
Maybe.
Okay.
I actually kind of hope so.
Okay.
I think Matt is kind of a judgmental asshole.
Yeah.
And doesn't really take other people's perspectives on things right now. So
yeah.
I could see Perrin being concerned that Matt would just judge him and not be fully understanding.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, yeah.
So Matt is bringing up some good points, and Perrin kind of, like, talks about that too.
Yes, he does, but he says it more reasonably.
Yeah.
So Perrin does tell Matt to shut up, but Matt keeps going.
A couple times.
Yeah. And he wants to know why they didn't gentle him. If the Aes Sedai, the Amyrlin seat knows you can channel, I've never heard about Aes Sedai letting any man who can channel go free. And so he tells them about how they think he's the dragon reborn. And Matt, ironically, says that Rand should leave and never come back.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what I was trying to do.
He was sort of trying to do that, yeah.
Yeah, but Perrin, more reasonably, asks why Rand hasn't gone yet. Instead of saying, get out of here, go.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, what are you thinking? What's going on? And Rand just says he just wanted to help his friend. And then Matt goes, oh man, because of me?
I didn't even know that.
I didn't even know. I didn't even think about it.
Okay, we can be friends again.
Yeah, well,
it's just kind of like...
Not really, though.
It's sort of like Matt has a realization that Rand was there, like, is here for him.
Yeah.
So
and
it's
then
like
he goes,
a
well,
little
what was
bit,
all that Lord talk?
Yeah.
And then Rand is like, I was just trying to push you away, you fool, or whatever. And finally gets to sort of explain himself. But Matt still really isn't fully understanding and says that he'll just sleep far away from him. And we get some story about some guy who went mad and, like, flattened his village.
Which has a great comeback by Perrin saying, well, maybe you should sleep right
Next
beside
to
you,
him
like
then.
next to him, because that's the safest place for you. So.
Yeah, so that's interesting because we've sort of talked about what is it going to look like when someone goes crazy.
Yeah.
And
like, we really don't know.
No, and that could just be a story, but anyway. So Matt says that Rand is just different, and he goes, and then Perrin says, maybe you should run, but sometimes you can't run.
And then gets all sad like Eeyore again.
Yeah, and then leaves.
Yeah.
So,
okay, see ya.
That talking wasn't the most productive.
No, they didn't really get, like, it's out on the table now.
Right, but I was thinking that people need time to process big news like this.
Yeah.
And so maybe it'll all sort of be okay after they go and sort of sleep on it, and especially Perrin will do some thinking.
So, like, tomorrow's breakfast conversation should be, like, productive, hopefully? Or...
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe that. So, anyways, Rand heads out. Loyal and Hurin are there making beds by his horse, and they're chatting and stuff, and Loyal really loves a rock. And, and they're just chatting, and...
Yeah, Rand's, like, not in the mood to talk about this,
all.
like, rock they're sitting beside, so...
And so he refuses food, and sleep doesn't come easy to him. He's has a bit of an anxious mind for everything that's going on right now. And when he finally does sleep, he is surrounded by the void, but it flickers with an uneasy glow that disturbs his dreams.
Yeah, so we get, again, that description of the uneasy, flickering, nauseous,
and
queasy...
then I just had a question about whether or not this is the taint.
Okay.
Like, if it was a not tainted power, like if he was a female, for example,
yeah,
would it be a nice bright light
and
that's
not like a queasy flicker?
A gross, like, one light bulb in the basement of a mental institution.
Yeah, and like a murder basement. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
That's a good description, and I think that's a really good analogy for it. And you're close enough that I think that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I think part of the problem is like Rand doesn't really know what it is or what's going on, but we know that Sidene is tainted, and we know this whole like light is alluding
probably
to
the power.
The power.
And so if it's all kind of gross,
it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Murder light bulb.
So we need like a description from the women of what it's like.
Right.
So, and that might help us clarify things.
Maybe, but they also don't really seem to be doing like the whole void thing, flame and void thing. So
that's true. So maybe it's different.
It might be different. Anyway, so we get a scene change.
And it's...
Oh my god, I was so surprised.
Horrified, yay!
It was so bad. And
it's a bad...
All I could think of while I was reading this, like, 2 pages, was having to be in Robert Jordan's head while writing it.
Yes, impromptu fun fact, and I think I've talked about this before, but this was about how Harriet could tell who Robert Jordan was writing, and one of those people that I didn't tell you during that fun fact, she quoted saying... If you'd been writing Fane, I could tell when you walked in the house that you'd been writing Fane.
Right.
And I didn't tell you that part of the fun fact originally because this was before we knew Fane was even like still around.
Yes.
You thought he had been like long gone and not important.
Dead under the peddler's cart.
And not important anymore.
Yeah.
So I like intentionally left that part out, but she knew he was writing Fane.
That's what I was thinking about when I was reading it.
Yeah. It's creepy.
And I actually wrote... Oh, Fane, no thank you.
Yeah, I got a paragraph last time, and that was like more than I needed.
That was it. And I knew this was going to be good information.
Yeah.
Because it was going to connect some dots. It was going to show us if he was actually with where the horn is.
Yeah.
If he's actually a prisoner still.
Yeah.
If he's still in Faldara. Like, it was going to give us a lot of information about what's going on.
Well, it certainly does that.
And I didn't want to read it.
Yes.
So, we get a recap. And then I think maybe it's actually confirmation of events. Because everything we have either came from Moraine, secondhand story, or it came from speculation, because we knew he was in Shatter Logoth, so obviously...
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. But we didn't get any sort of this actually happened for sure.
Yeah. So this is definitely confirmation of what we thought.
Right. So, of everything that's happened to Fane. And so, he was chasing the boys at Baalzamon's command, and then going to Shatter Logoth, and being changed there. But at his core, he knows he's Padan Fane.
Well, that's like the center, and
right
then
now,
but he knows he's different, though.
Yes.
So.
And... he has the dagger now, and he feels whole within himself now that he has it.
And that makes sense with the whole Mordeath thing.
That must be the Mordeath thing.
He wants a piece of himself, like a hard copy piece or something.
Yeah. So we get that his camp here has 12 dark friends that are left.
Yes.
That haven't been eaten.
Yeah.
By Trollocs. And then we have about 20 Trollocs.
Yeah.
And so he thinks about how he struggled at first with the Fade in charge, wanting to go north to the Blight, to Shale Ghul, and then he remembers the sweet memory of driving the spikes into the Fade's face.
Yeah, so that's good.
Whoa, okay. Yeah. Slow down, because yikes.
So the whole zigzagging was because basically Fane and the Myrddraal were in a power struggle, with the Myrddraal saying we're going to the Blight, and Fane saying no, we're going south.
Yeah.
And probably it kind of makes sense that they're heading towards Tom and Head because of that whole big message he left on the door for Rand saying, I'll see you on
Tom and Head.
See you on Tom and Head.
And then also the stuff that Baalzamon maybe has instructed.
Yes, we don't really know, but also then it doesn't make sense why the Fade is doing something that Baalzamon doesn't want. Like, why is there no communication there?
Well...
we don't really know.
Because all the Dark Friends got different messages.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we know for sure that a Dark Friend got a message about Tom and Head.
Yeah.
And Almouth Plain and everything. So that's the only thing I can think of that's a connection there. But why he wants to go to Tom and Head is it might be a Dark One thing.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So they were struggling for power. Yeah. That's why they were zigzagging. And then after Fane basically killed the Fade.
He did.
Yeah, he killed it and drove spikes into its, eyeless skull. That's good. Yeah. So he's in control now.
Yes. And so there's also the entirety of the village.
The second village only... Luckily, the first fairy village was already deserted, so it's like, that's nice that some villagers didn't get brutally murdered.
Maybe, but like, why is it abandoned.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that, though.
Yeah, because, like, maybe it's already been cleared out before. So anyways, they're all crying in the corner somewhere.
Yep.
And Fane thinks that he should have never let them take so many, but he wasn't really paying attention to what the Trollocs were doing because of the euphoria he felt from watching the Murdral die.
Yeah, driving the spikes into its skull.
Yeah.
Good.
So he was super happy. And he tells the Trollocs to kill them all because a whole village is just going to slow them down.
Yeah.
So kill them all, eat what they want, and then pile up all the remains and put the heads neatly on top.
Yeah.
For our friends to find.
Yep. Men, women, and children.
Okay. So interesting clue about how all of these dead people left behind were there for our group to find.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
Yes.
The only counterpoint to that is we know that the Murdral and Fane were struggling for power, so maybe that was like an offshoot of that too.
Maybe, but maybe that's how Fane got them to turn back around.
Yeah.
He exerted power by killing someone.
Yeah, so we're really not sure how that power dynamic worked either.
Yeah, because the first two were kind of sloppy.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't flayed men hanging there. Like, they weren't, here's a signal for people who are following us.
Yeah.
But Fane for sure knows that there are people on his trail, and he's specifically leaving little clues for them.
Yeah. So one other things too, because we get that description of Fane and the power struggle. Fane describes it as he was waking each morning and finding himself not completely whole.
Right.
So it's weird, like in the morning time, his power had like lessened, and then over the course of the day, he like regains the power over the Fade.
Yeah, but we also get that he puts his dagger down for the night. So maybe if he's not touching it, like if he's separated from it.
Yeah. It's kind of weird.
Maybe that had to do with something, because we knew that Matt put the dagger like under his pillow.
Yeah, that's true.
To sleep.
Yeah.
And stuff. So maybe that's what Matt was feeling, that he wasn't completely whole without the dagger, and so I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway.
Add to the mystery.
Yeah, no kidding, hey? So Fane tells the Dark Friends that the Trollocs might get hungry again before they find another village, and he might let them choose who they want to eat next. And there's a woman there who says that those villagers are just commoners, peasants. They haven't served like we have served. Like, we have served faithfully the Dark One. We shouldn't be Trolloc food. And
Fane doesn't give a fuck.
Doesn't care.
Not even at all.
He loves his new power.
Yeah.
And he says if they want to live, they have to be useful.
And they all start babbling about how useful they are, so...
Yeah. And then he turns to the chest, which he calls his prize, and it's the horn.
Yes.
The chest with the horn in it.
Which is really
important.
important.
The flattened cube.
The flattened cube, yeah. But this is a huge piece of information, too, because now we know that Fane has the horn.
And he wants it for himself.
But he can't open the box.
He can't get in.
He doesn't know how to get in. We know that the Amerlin, it was like a secret contraption box, like if you know how to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
It reminds me of one of those like...
puzzle boxes.
Yeah, and like if you know the trick, you can get into it, but if you don't know the trick, it's basically impossible to get in. So that's what it seems like. So Fane isn't like all-knowing.
No, but he says he doesn't know how to open it yet.
Yes.
But he's confident that, like, he'll be able to figure it out.
So, if you remember back to when Fane was entering the Waygate, he opened the Waygate as if being controlled, and something was, like, guiding his hand on what to do.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So he's just, like, hoping something like that happens again for him?
Possibly, but that's, like, the other connection where we knew that someone else was guiding his hand to make him get into the Waygate, like, into the ways. Yeah. And maybe that's what he's waiting for or hoping to happen again now with this chest.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
So
he puts the dagger on top of the chest as a guard and says that it is the best guard because all these people and all the Trollocs had seen what happens when he uses it.
Yeah, so do you know what that meant?
So I guess he used the dagger to kill the Fade?
Yeah, there's like, it could be that. I was also thinking, could be the whole, did he flay the people?
Oh.
Right? And did the Dark Friends like see him skin a couple dudes alive and then be like, okay, I'm going to stay away from you and that. But it
says once.
That's true.
It says they saw what happened when he used it once.
So it's like, what, did he stab the Fade?
I thought that maybe it has, because the Fade Okay, here's my train of thought. The Shadow Spawn never wanted to enter Shatter Logoth.
Yeah, because Shatter Logoth like murdered all the Fades.
Yeah,
and
they have
Trollocs.
this bad feeling about all of the evil there. It's different than their kind of evil. And so maybe the Fade would shy away from the dagger.
Yeah, so like does the dagger do something special to the Fade if you stab it?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe he was just backing away from it and basically wasn't as scary as he normally is and doesn't know how to actually do anything. And then my other point actually that I want to talk about now so I don't forget.
Okay.
When a Fade is nailed to a door.
Yeah.
So we got in the first book that it takes until nightfall for the Fade to die even when its head is cut off.
Yes.
So that's probably why the kicking...
The scuff marks of the feet, yeah.
Probably because even though he's nailed there, he's not going to die.
He's still flailing around.
Until nightfall.
Yeah. And that's why his like shoulders and wrists were probably pinned down too with stakes so that he can't like lash out.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's probably how he got him to stay still, probably with the dagger. I don't know.
Unless Fane has like some sort of other extra super abilities.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I doubt it. I think it's the dagger.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so he lays down for the night and thinks about Rand al'Thor.
Yeah, this is cool. Yeah.
He could not feel him now because maybe the distance is too much, or maybe Rand is doing his vanishing act.
Yeah.
Because in the keep, sometimes Rand would suddenly vanish from Fane's senses and then eventually like reappear.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
big
looking at me.
question mark.
Yeah. I think maybe when he uses the void successfully.
What do you mean?
Like when he goes into his sense of calm, he enters the void.
Okay.
Then maybe it makes it so that evil can't sense it.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
That's that's not a bad idea because
I'm thinking of things that happened multiple times,
but like still infrequently enough that it's not like Rand's always invisible.
Yes.
Because Rand's clearly not like always in the void.
Right.
He gets it sometimes in certain scenarios.
Yes.
So that could like...
And sometimes he fails at getting it. And yeah.
So maybe that like protects him from Fane.
Maybe.
Okay. Any other ideas?
Nope.
That's the one. Okay. We'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right. So he thinks about how he had to follow Rand, but now this time Rand will come to him.
Yeah.
And he says, "We'll dance on Tommen Head and I'll be free of you. I'll see you dead at last."
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what Mordeth said when they were leaving. He was screaming, "I'll kill you! I'll kill you all!"
He did say that.
So maybe that's sort of part of it. But
in Fane's description of himself, it says his laughter was a cackle that even he knew was mad, but he did not care. Madness was a part of him too.
Yeah.
And it's just an interesting note because we know that Fane is partially like Baalzamon because of that essence distilling, and he's part Mordeth, and we also know he had that encounter with the Black Wind, which like drives people crazy too.
Oh yeah.
So it's
he's
like
a whole mix of bad
whole
guy.
mix match. Yeah. So
Okay. Very interesting.
I was gonna make a joke too when you were talking about the whole void thing. I was gonna say every time Rand has like an identity crisis about who he is.
Yeah.
He goes invisible to Fane because he doesn't know who he is.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
I like that. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. But next time we are going to be doing 2 chapters.
Yeah.
So that'll be great.
They don't exactly coincide with each other, but I think that's okay.
Yeah. And there's less pages than this time was.
Yeah,
this
there was.
A lot.
Yeah.
This was heavy. So I'm looking forward to that, and I just want to go keep reading.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like that's the new tagline. Can I go read now? I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to keep reading. That's what I say at the end of every episode. But
that's what you're going to do, literally. You go and read. So.
I know, because I'm excited, because I have to
hold
off.
It's not even like fake. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like you could say that because you're just like saying it as a tagline, but you actually, you go and read.
Yeah,
so.
I do. And it's exciting for me.
Okay.
And these 2 chapters, actually, just a funny side note before we end here, these 2 chapters were so long that I didn't read them in one sitting.
That's true.
And I was just at a conference, teachers convention this past week, and I got to sit and read during lunch like a normal person.
I thought you were going to say like during the conference.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, no, don't tell people
while
that.
I was waiting for a session to start or whatever, like a regular person would just take out a book to read.
Oh my God, you're that person.
I got to do that.
That's cool.
So it felt good.
Yeah.
That was fun. But it was a lot. Anyway, I'm excited. But I can officially say now, I think that this is part of the pattern now.
Yep, it's part of the pattern.
Thank you for listening to this episode. The Wheel Weaves is hosted by Dani and Brett, edited by Dani, produced by Dani and Brett with Kyle Smith, Joe Lott, Passion Socks, and Moltude. Music by Audionautics.com. If you'd like bonus content, like bonus episodes, outtakes, Q&As, more fun Wheel of Time talk, early access, cool stickers and keychains, and also to support us making great content, visit us at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram and Twitter at The Wheel Weaves Podcast. We love interacting with our listeners. Plus, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and tell a friend about us because referrals really are the best compliment. We'd really love for you to come over and join our Discord channel for some spoiler or spoiler-free discussions. You can find the links at our Twitter page as well as on our Patreon page. Thanks again for tuning in because this really is part of the pattern now.